A couple of weeks ago, I documented the start of an experiment with potato planting in 3 different styles: slight dig, no dig with compost, and truly no dig, just with mulch. I want to document how that's moving along and also share notes on the potato planting that we did in between a row of willows. So stick around. I'm going to link here to the first video that explains in greater detail what's going on, but just a quick refresher. This is an experiment in 3 different styles. There's 1, 2, and 3 styles. The first style we went through, so all of this had and has a uniform mulch of old hay across the whole thing, so that's a constant. This first area, I dug a little trench, opened up the soil, flipped it a little, planted my seed potato, put the soil back, put a little mulch on top. Row 2, pulled the mulch aside, put some compost, not super finished, not perfect compost, just what we had in the chicken yard, put in a potato, mulch back on. Row 3, pulled the mulch aside, dropped the potato on the ground, put the mulch back. Wow. Option 2 for the win. So it really seems like, well, first of all, we're at near 100% all the potatoes are growing. So it's not as though any of these are a complete failure. The last row where I just pulled the mulch aside and dropped them in, there are a few that I think got a whole lot of vole damage. They're basically just sitting there on the ground under a nice cover of mulch. They're still growing, but that really set them back. But the second row, the middle row, having that little cup of compost, maybe 2 gallons of compost per, not only held more moisture around them, but I think gave them some fertility, some food to work with, and they just shot up. Since that initial planting, we've done 1 round of hilling on all these potatoes. They all got the exact same treatment of a good handful or 2 of some finished compost just to give them a boost. But you can really see the nice thing is that without going crazy, there's no deep tillage, there's no rototilling or plowing. So all 3 methods are legitimate, but the least useful or the least beneficial is to pull mulch aside, drop a potato straight on the ground and put mulch back and expect things to be amazing. In this willow planting, I really, for the most part, just did style number 2 for this whole row. So I pulled the mulch, made a little channel, and then I think in this case what I did is dropped the potatoes right on the ground, which was very fast, and then dumped a windrow of compost over the whole shebang. And so I would say this took me in total 10 to 15 minutes to plant all of these potatoes and get them mulched, and I did not use a shovel at all. So no soil disturbance, just dropped on the soil with compost on top. Now, there's definitely some spots where weeds are coming through, but what we're not doing is going in and pulling all the weeds. We just kind of keep tucking them down and putting a little more mulch on top. Sometimes tucking them down and dumping some compost on top. And the plan now is to go through, now that they're all getting established, they're very clearly up, and take those potato stalks that are the longest and pin them down, cover them in compost to basically spread them out, fill out any of the gaps in between them. You'll notice that where we added compost along the side in this particular bed, I've plugged in winter squash. I think this is buttercup, every 6 feet or so. And the idea is once they're big enough, we'll do one last very tight mowing of the lawn right along this edge, and then let winter squash fill the entire walkway for the rest of the summer. They're not doing too badly considering we haven't watered them once, and it's been pretty darn dry. I just think the very, very high organic matter, coupled with the fact that we didn't till in the first place, coupled with good mulching, seems to have gotten everybody through the stresses of this dryness. So the willows, they're getting the benefit of extra compost around them, extra mulch around them because of the TLC for these potatoes and for the squash. The squash will be amazing ground cover soon, and the potatoes we can lean over and cover in compost in order to fill this out. So just thought I'd get that update before I go into the next phase here. What I definitely need to do is do a more thorough update on our lawn to food forest conversion process. I know a number of you have been interested in that. So just a little teaser, we started digging a pond with a little excavator, and part of what I'm going to do today is to go through some of that soil bucket by bucket and bring it over to give these potatoes an incredibly thorough hilling and bring some mineral into this area. So that's the work for now. The next video, there'll definitely be a lot more growth on these potatoes, a lot more soil and hilling in between them, so we can be building permanent raised beds in this landscape with a tremendous amount of soil, but obtaining a yield while we're at it. The way things are going here, I expect some really nice yields on this. Pretty neat to see that old wasted hay, some old sprouted potatoes, and some thyme really turns into something green very nicely. Okay, now to start chipping away at moving that. We'll see you later.